Greeting interwebs, it's Jack and Kay, and welcome for the first edition of the KayCast. Name tentative. Anyhow, I've been thinking about doing this ever since I started listening to podcasts myself. They seem pretty fun and simple to make, so I figured it'd be a good way to deliver content to you guys while I can focus the little time I do have to edit, record, etc. on larger projects. Though we'll see how that goes. So before we really get into things, I want to start off by giving you guys a rundown of how YouTube and my general interactivity's been lately. Well, I think it's actually already been a couple weeks from now. I went to the Tatsu-Con convention. I did take a bunch of cosplay pictures, so first and foremost, I want to focus on getting those up online, and then I'll focus on working on videos again. I know I got a huge backlog of Chibi Rebel Ziplash stream recordings to edit and get up online, so that'll be the next thing, and I'll go from there. I'm going to continue to put Yellow vs. Leaf Green on hold until at least September, just because I do get another convention coming up in August, and I want to prepare for that. Bonus episodes for Skylanders Spiral Adventure. I'm honestly not sure when they'll go up at this point, because I do want to finish up with the stuff I did with Chibi Rebel Ziplash. Get that all edited, maybe record some new stuff so you guys can actually have some streams to watch or so. But since I'll be doing this weekly, I'm sure I have plenty of time to give you guys an update. And about the podcast itself. Like I said, I want to do this a weekly thing now, and as far as I can see, it'll be mostly just me talking and going on about random subjects that have been going on. Don't get the nerves, don't get them now. Keep yourself together now. What do we got to talk about next? Onwards with the show. So yeah, with the podcast, it'll be weekly, but I do want to try to do themes, so general podcasting will probably be like once a month, but I've only got 3 main topics at this point. Just general blabbing about whatever's going on. I want to do weekly Pokemon thing, because I do have quite a few Pokemon topics to talk about, and with all the Sun and Moon stuff and Pokemon Go being hot topics lately, I'm sure I'll have plenty to talk about. I actually did a test run of this and a Pokemon podcast, and I was going on for like 45 minutes just on all the old Sun and Moon stuff I forgot to talk about. And I also want to do some sort of amiibo chat. So that gives me 3 weeks. For now, I guess I'll just alternate between those. But I'm hoping to come up with an idea for that 4th week in the near to future. This podcast is going to be in like a beta, like experimental phase for at least a couple of months, so I'm open to hearing suggestions. As for what's been going on lately, well, there was that convention, so I'll start off with talking about that. It was overall a nice experience. I don't quite think it was that good in comparison to conventions I've been to in the past. But it was definitely the weakest year of this particular one. But that's only because I've been so passionate about them in the past years. This is a mixture between just disorganization with them and my own issues. For example, I decided to host a Pokemon cosplay meetup, but that actually went smoothly. What I was going to say was I was going to do something with amiibos and talk about their backstory and showcase some customs I made. I was even set up to do like a raffle where if enough people bought a $5 ticket, I would raffle off a custom amiibo I made just for the convention. But everything went wrong. The presentation that I had to visually show people while I talked about the amiibos, Well, I forgot my laptop, so I didn't have anything to project on. And the room didn't have a projector to begin with. So it was probably for the best I didn't have it. The way I packed my amiibos was apparently not good enough because, while the amiibos themselves were fine, any clay figures I made, including those that were on the amiibo themselves, kinda got busted. That's just part of the problem of the fragility of dry clay, though. It's not too bad. It looks like it's salvageable, but nothing I was really confident giving away at the presentation. So, this grand whole, everyone gets together and share amiibos and learn more about them, kind of just turned into a guy standing in front of a table with a bunch of amiibos. I was able to have some conversations with people that passed by, so that was good at least. But I think I'm gonna just lay off doing fan panels at conventions until I have plenty of time to prepare properly and all. So, I also hosted a Pokemon cosplay meetup, which, besides the fact that I got moved from Saturday, where the most people cosplays show up, to Sunday, the day where the least amount of people in cosplay show up, and I say it went smoothly. Took about half the time of the convention, or half the time of the 45-minute panel, to actually find anyone in cosplay, but once we got people together, it was fun. Everyone's having fun hanging out, and I was able to have a decent photo shoot, even though I only had my cell phone camera to take the pictures with. If you're interested in seeing the results of that, I did post them up, at least the pictures I took, on my cosplay amiibo Facebook page. It'd be Jacket K, JACITKAY. As for the rest of the convention, I did go to a couple panels, but I didn't really have as much fun with the panels as I had in past years. I blame myself because I spent a lot of that time playing Pokemon Go, because the convention center was a literal Pokespot in the game, so I spent a lot of time on that game. And while I regret it a lot, there wasn't as much to do this year as there was in past years. Granted, the few things I did go to were real fun. And on top of that, I even learned a bit more about independent filming. For example, like I said, there was a panel hosted by an independent film company, so that was, even though I had to leave early for that to set up my amiibo panel, which we all know how that went, it was pretty informative. There wasn't a lot of people that showed up, so it was really one-on-one, for better and for worse. But I was really able to ask questions directly and learn more about how independent filming works. Other things I did that was probably more enjoyable, if not less informative, include both of the cosplay dating games. For those of you who've never been to a cosplay dating game before, essentially, like, everyone's there in cosplay. And if you ever been on a dating show or seen one, you got a bachelor, set of bachelorettes, or pretty much anyone and anything by the end of the game. And they ask 3 questions to the 3 bachelorettes, and they respond accordingly in character. And it's more just about the jokes that people can come up with on the spots and the humor that comes out of it. I always try, if a convention has a cosplay dating game, I usually try to go, even if I stopped trying to get into the games because I suck at it. My god, I don't know why I thought I wanted to try acting in school plays and that, when I am such a horrible actor. My god, I'm embarrassed by the past times I've been in a cosplay dating game. That's how bad they were. And just cosplaying in general, it's like, I don't know where I stand out in cosplays because I'm not great at making costumes. I'm not good at pretending to be my character, especially if they're a character that doesn't exactly match up with my personality. And it's just but that's a whole nother topic on itself. But I always have fun just watching the shows. I was gonna say maybe, like, I don't even know the right word. It's not heckling, but throwing things in from the audience. But I don't think I really did that. I didn't really do that this year, and that was probably more prominent in previous years. Holy cow, you guys probably think there's horrible static, but I swear it's just my mouth. I don't even know how I'm able to do that. Besides that, another thing I ended up doing was, this convention always has like a large room with life-size games. This year they had a Minecraft section with literal blocks that you could play around the game with, but they also have another large room which, on top of life-size board games, they always have this Mario Kart thing where they literally have a track and put like items and stuff inside power blocks, and you actually can walk around the course and have Mario Kart race. I've seen it in previous years, but this was the first year I actually decided to do it, and that was pretty fun. I was horrible at it, even though I don't understand how I was able to win when I was so horrible at it, but I did. And let me try to explain it a little better than that. Essentially, they like make a bunch of things out of cardboard, including the blocks and cars, and they have like little plushies of the Mario Kart items. Like you can actually find a bomb underneath a block and actually throw it at someone. Gently, of course. So it's an actual life-size Mario Kart. Now, I almost forgot about it again, but there was a couple things done by Nameless Comedy is the name of the organization, I believe. I believe they hosted one of the cosplay dating games, but they also had a live podcast right on their show. And I decided to check that out, at least for a little bit, and I'm not sure how much fun I had, but it was really interesting to just listen to them talk. For one, the one guest I remember, they were actually authors of a book series, so I got to learn a bit more of how writing books and publishing works in the modern day, which is always, it's definitely worth my time at the very least. Before I move onwards, I do want to give a plug to Nameless Comedy, since they were one of the best things of the convention. I believe you can find their Facebook page searching Nameless Comedy. However, I will try to get a link up directly to their channel so you can look it up there. The only other thing I can think of I have done at the convention was actually not, well, one thing was in, one thing was not actually in. And it both involves eating. So, I tried to be a bit more explorative this time because I do want to get practice of trying to save a little money by eating outside the convention. Unfortunately, this is not a good area to do it in, apparently, because a lot of the businesses were closed, and besides the Subway, the only other place I could find to eat was a food court in a mall, which I swear had everything else besides said food court closed. But the pizza I got there was pretty good, so thumbs up for that. The only other noteworthy thing I did eating-wise was I went to the Maid Cafe. I'm not going to go into what a Maid Cafe, because I've been to them before, and I just want to wrap this up and talk about what I wanted to talk about. I tried getting a sandwich wrap first time ever at a convention, and it was actually good, so I think I might try to do that in the future for healthy alternatives. Though I don't think I'm going to find too many conventions that actually sell sandwich wraps. One can dream though. And I also tried a Japanese snack called Panda Paws, I believe. I was going to try Pocky because I've heard so many good things about it, but they were all sold out. The Panda Paws are kind of like a cookie with chocolate inside of them, but eating them feels more like eating crackers, if that makes any sense. But it was nice, so at least I got that out of the experience. And that'll about do it for this podcast. I know it's a bit short for a podcast format, but trust me, I've been going at this between the whole previous attempt to record this and the time it took to record this without having audio hiccups. It took me a while. I think as I get more used to the whole podcasting thing, the longer the episodes will be. Trust me, we're going to have some pretty long ones in the future. Especially considering next week I'm going to try to talk about Pokemon, and I noticed from a previous attempt that doing Sun and Moon took me over half an hour just to talk about all the old stuff before the latest trailers and that. So yeah, Pokemon alone is gonna really take a long time. Now before I go, I just want to give my general plugs. First and most obvious, if you enjoyed this video, please like it. And if you want more updates in the future, feel free to subscribe. If you want to follow me more closely for updates and general conversation, you can either follow me on Twitter, that would be the Jacket Stuff, Facebook, for more serious updates. You can either go to the one exclusive to video updates, which would be Jacket K, the JACKITK, or one focused more on arts like custom amiibos and cosplays / conventions. That would be the JACKITKAY. If you prefer places like Instagram and Tumblr, I do have those under the first Jacket K. But the previous pages I mentioned are what I update the most. And there's DeviantArt if you prefer following that over Facebook for some reason, and that would be Jacket K as well. Oh, one more thing. Feel free to comment on the video if you're watching this on YouTube to give feedback on what you liked, what you didn't like, and topics you would like me to go over in the future. I can't guarantee I'll do it because I want to focus on topics that I'm familiar with, but I am open to listening to suggestions at the very least. Those are all the plugs relevant to today's video. I'm gonna have a hard time not calling them videos. I've been Jacket K, and I hope to see you all next week for the KayCast. Take care.